Let's face it, you suck at eating. Whether it's because you don't have the appetite or enough time, your nutrition is what's holding you back from gaining more muscle and finally having a body that makes you feel confident. I'm gonna give you the exact 5-step formula that I've used with thousands of clients in order to increase the amount that we can eat and thus build the muscle that you want to build. For those of you that are new here, my name is Trevor. I'm a registered dietitian who has worked with thousands of guys just like yourself who want to build muscle without all of the extra fluff. Number one, track your intake. Anytime you put a location in your GPS of somewhere that you want to go, you always have a starting spot. And for a lot of you, you don't know what that starting spot is. How are you gonna put Chipotle in your GPS if you don't know where you're starting? Because let's be honest, where are we going if we're not going to Chipotle? What we need to do is we need to establish how far off the mark are you really? Because for some of you, you may find that you actually are eating enough and there's something else that is a problem. But for many of you, you don't even know. You don't know if you're far off. You don't know if you're actually pretty close. You just need to make a few small adjustments. But that is something that we need to know. Beyond that, what we really need to know is how much protein, carbohydrates, and fat, the 3 major macronutrients, you are consuming. Because each macronutrient behaves a little bit differently when it comes to our hunger. Protein, for example, is really filling, and many guys who want to build muscle are trying to eat a lot of protein to build muscle. It makes sense. The problem is that when you overconsume protein, it tends to make you overly full, and then you can't get in the other macronutrients or enough calories in order to go through the process that is building muscle, because it takes extra energy. High carbohydrate foods may have a lot of fiber, or if you're eating poor sources of carbohydrates, you might not be getting enough fiber. We'll talk about that in a second. And fats slow down the digestion of all the food that you consume. So like a lot of people in America, we consume a ton of additional fat. And that may mean that it's taking so long for you to digest one meal that you're not hungry by the next, and then you don't have enough opportunity, meaning meals, to consume enough calories throughout the day. Once we know our starting spot, that will allow us to determine what the appropriate course of action is. Number 2 is everybody's favorite. You need to assess your bowel movements. A couple questions to ask yourself. How frequently are you having a bowel movement? What is the quality? Is it hard? Is it soft? That will tell you a lot about what you're putting into your body. And the reason this is so important is I want you to think of a pipe. If you block the end of a pipe, then everything you put into it is just gonna get clogged up in there. And at some point, you're not gonna be able to put anything else into that pipe. But if you allow the end of the pipe to open up and release what is in the pipe, then we could put more stuff in. This is pretty much how your intestines work. If you're not having high quality bowel movements at least once per day, then it's gonna be hard to put in a lot more food so that you can eat enough to get the calories, protein, etc. in order to build muscle. And this is where fiber really comes in. A lot of people probably are not eating enough fiber in order to properly create feces that you can excrete. I know, it's not the most fun topic, but it's the reality. Others of you may be eating way too much fiber, and fiber, just like protein, is really filling. If you are so full from your meals that you can't get in enough calories, then it actually might be time to decrease the fiber a little bit. Number 3, you need to assess your sleep. Sleep has so many implications when it comes to building muscle. Of course, sleep is where we build muscle, but sleep also changes the way your body releases a lot of hormones, especially things like leptin and ghrelin that have a ton of interplay in how hungry we are. For a lot of people, not getting enough sleep actually makes them more hungry. But if you're watching this video, you're probably on the other side of that, where not sleeping enough makes you less hungry. And that may be an issue when it comes to wanting to eat more throughout the day and get in the calories that you need in order to build muscle. So assess your sleep. Are you getting enough time? Ideally, we want about 7 to 9 hours. It's gonna be a little bit different for everybody, but in that range is where most people want to lie. What is the quality of your sleep? Does it take you forever to fall asleep? Are you sleeping well throughout the night, or do you wake up every couple of hours and find it hard to go back to bed? In this case, there are some things that we can do with our nutrition and with our sleep habits that can improve our sleep immensely and thus make those hormones function in our favor rather than against us. Number 4, there's a couple things in our diet that make us less hungry. They're called appetite suppressants, and we need to assess those. Some of those things include caffeine, nicotine, or if you take certain medications, especially things related to ADHD like Ritalin, Adderall, or Vyvanse. those all suppress your appetite. So if we are crushing Zyn pouches or drinking so much caffeine throughout the day or on one of these medications, then we may need to figure out a strategy where we can reduce those things in order to be able to have more of an appetite and want to eat throughout the day. For some people on these medications, there is not a possibility of reducing the amount that you're taking. In that instance, we need to set up strategies such as alarms throughout the day or reminders around our house to actually be able to remember to eat. And number 5, once we have assessed all of these different aspects and maybe we've identified big glaring issues that we can fix, the last thing to do is to increase the amount that you're eating slowly. What I've found after working with thousands of clients is that a lot of people will get to this place where they're eating a lot more, but then their hunger really comes back. And that has to do a lot with making sure that our body is functioning as it wants to, rather than how it functions when we're underfed. But for some people, that never happens. And all we need to do is increase the amount slowly so that both our stomach and our whole body, our mentality, our routines, everything can get used to the pattern of eating more. And thus we can get it in more consistently over time. Look, it's not a big deal if you don't eat enough one day every so often, but if you're consistently under eating and it's stopping you from growing muscle, then we need to dig a little bit deeper to find out what the root cause of that is, because I know for a fact that you can do it because I've seen thousands of people do it before, no matter what your body type or how you grew up or your current eating pattern or anything that you think is limiting you. Putting on the amount of muscle that you want that's gonna make you feel confident, strong, or healthy is possible. And I'm giving away all the information that you need here on YouTube for free. So check out this video that YouTube thinks is the best one for you to watch next, and I'll see you there.